Hey, everybody. So I got a question for you. What does healing look like for a betrayed partner when her husband's in recovery? Okay. And I'm saying husband and then genderizing here for a minute because who I have here today is Isy Williams. She's one of our coaches at Choose Recovery Services. And we're going to dive into that. Welcome to Beyond the Facade podcast. I'm your host, Luke Gordon, and I'm thrilled to have you join me in this space today. What we're going to be doing is diving deep into the trials and triumphs and truths of seeking authenticity. Becoming your true self isn't about a single action or moment. It's a relentless pursuit, a commitment to self that reveals the rich connection and meaning that our life has to offer. So whether this is your first time tuning in or you're a regular listener, know this: what you're building here goes beyond a conversation. You're here to challenge, to change, and to celebrate the incredible journey of becoming your authentic self. Because when you dare to show up fully, the rewards are immeasurable. So welcome to Beyond the Facade. Let's get started. I'm excited to introduce Isy to you. Isy's one of our newest coaches. She's been around for a minute, but Isy, why don't we have you introduce yourself, then I'll say a couple cool things about you.
Okay. I'm Isy. Obviously, I'm from England, unmistakable accent.
Yeah. It's not fake, that's real.
It's not fake, it's
Not
real.
put on.
Sometimes I feel like a fish out of water, but I love the States. Been living here since 2015. Started my coaching business 4 years ago in England. Came back here. We had a short stint back in England from 2021 to 2024. Came back here last year and started coaching here. And I've really gone into my niche of betrayal, trauma, recovery for women. And my heart is also to reach betrayed men. I know there's not a lot of resources yet out there for them, and there's not a lot of focus on them. So reach them too. And for couples seeking recovery and restoration in their marriages, that's really what gets me really excited, to be able to take part in those journeys and actually see healing, growth, incredible emotional development, personal development, coming out of crisis, coming out of brokenness, which is conversely what we doubt will ever happen. But actually, with the right coaching and the right work, the deep work, it happens all the time. So that's really my passion, to be part of that.
Yeah. Did you pick this work? Is this something that how much of this did you pick it versus it pick you?
How much? Oh, that's such a good question, Luke. I would say it definitely picked me. And what I've learned from that is that when you don't necessarily choose your giftings, or you don't even recognize you have giftings in a certain area, when those things pick you, you can really excel and grow in yourself and find parts of you and abilities you had that you didn't know you had. So it definitely picked me through my own personal journey and my own personal experience. And I'm on a new trajectory, in a sense, because I wouldn't have picked to be a betrayal coach. And I honestly believe that I'm not sure yet who would pick that intentionally as a career unless they'd had some kind of reason to go down that route.
For
So
sure.
yeah.
I'm excited that you're here, Izzy. You bring a special spirit/energy to this work. I feel like you're a coach, but it feels more like you're like a therapist. When you talk to you have this energy that you bring, which is like, oh yeah, she knows what she's talking about. So I'm excited for people, not to add any pressure to this thing at all, but I'm excited for people to get to know you and hear you. And I don't know, because here's the deal at Choose Recovery Services. The deal is you've had to have been impacted and not just been impacted by betrayal, trauma, or compulsive behavior, but also have an education and an understanding of what it actually is to support people. So I'm just glad to have you here, Izzy. All right, you ready to jump into it?
Yep. Thanks, Luke. I'm honored to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just acknowledge some reality here for a second. Again, we're going to genderize a little bit today because Izzy's used to working with women, specifically in betrayal trauma, right, Izzy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to working with men in betrayal trauma, men that experience compulsive sexual behavior, and we call them individuals seeking recovery. And what reality is a lot of men just don't realize how their recovery behaviors, what their recovery looks like, and how it impacts their partner. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's deconstruct some of the lies that I think I believed and felt maybe kind of hopeless around. And then Izzy, you can give us your take on what this is all about. So if we're going to deconstruct them, let's just come up with a few of them here. So nothing I do helps. Doesn't matter. Like nothing I do is right. In fact, let's just do these one at a time. So nothing I do helps. So it seems like I keep trying things over and over again, like whether I go see a therapist or whether I go to a group or whether I attempt to have empathy and it doesn't seem to like really help at all. Or I am doing those things and I'm still not getting it right. It doesn't seem like it's making anything better. And, or the other one is it's not like I have any power to change anything here. So I'm powerless to change. So we can talk about reframes of this, Isy, but what comes up for you thinking about this?
I think what comes up is these are disempowering beliefs. And I think one of the huge catalysts in the man's recovery is going to be what he believes he can be, who he believes he can be. So I think that's why they're so important to uproot those lies and really get the truth in there. So that's what comes to me is like those lies are dangerous. They pose a threat, a direct threat, in my opinion, to the man fully recovering, which will inevitably and directly affect his wife's recovery and the whole recovery of the entire relationship. So this is a really crucial thing, I think. The lies that individuals seeking recovery believe. And I really am very passionate about helping men to see that you can uproot those lies. And it's going to be a huge breakthrough and power in that.
Okay, so if those are lies, like nothing I do helps, nothing I do is right, I'm powerless to change anything. So if those aren't truths, what are they? It's like if he's sitting there going, nothing I do helps, nothing I do is right,
Yeah.
and I'm powerless here, what do you believe truth is?
Yeah, because they seem like true, don't they? So for example,
yeah,
seem like truths because if the husband's trying really hard, like you said, he's going to meetings, he's engaging with his group, he's doing his hard work, his 12 steps, whatever he's committed to and engaged in, but he doesn't see any impactful or meaningful change in behavior or attitude or feelings from his wife, then naturally he's going to think, well, nothing I'm doing is helping. It's not making any impact. It's not bringing any change. My wife's not happy. She doesn't seem to be healing. So the trust's not there. So it can be really demotivating. But I think the truth is, when the man focuses on his recovery, what am I recovering first and foremost here? Well, I'm recovering myself. I'm recovering myself first. And in me recovering myself, I'm going to help my wife to heal as she works on recovering herself. And anything I do for me is going to impact my wife, is going to impact the us. The truth is, everything you do helps. Everything you do in terms of being committed to your recovery, to being committed to your groups, in the details, committing to the details, everything you do helps. So it's quite simple in that just because you don't see the result right now, just kind of hang in there, push through, keep going, because what your wife is really, what she's looking for, the betrayed spouse, what she's seeking is, are you doing what you said you would do? Have you stopped perhaps over-promising and under-delivering? Are you actually doing the recovery, doing the work, applying the tools? And if you are, then she'll see that. She will definitely.
Will she say that I'm gonna pretend, I'm gonna play dumb here for a second. Does she notice?
I would say that would depend on what phase of trauma she might be in. So obviously we know we at APSATS, we do the MPTM model, the multidimensional partner trauma model, and it depends if a betrayed spouse is in extreme trauma, that first stage, she may or may not see the guy putting in effort. It depends. Sometimes she's not able to see.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense? I don't know if you've.
Yeah, it does make sense. I think I'm gonna lean into something here for a second. Why don't I pretend to be a disgruntled, frustrated guy that thinks he's been in recovery for a long time, speaking to you? Is that okay? Can we do that?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to use these words again. So Isy, I feel like I've been doing this for a while and I don't know if anything helps. So it doesn't feel like I'm doing it right because she only has feedback for me that's like of different things I need to do and more than I need to do. So I don't know. What do you have to say to that?
He's disgruntled and fed up. Yeah. I think it's the part where often I think the addict, or the better terminology is the individual seeking recovery, I would say to a degree kind of hits a wall. It's like I've put in a lot of effort, or what I feel is a lot of effort, and I'm really not getting the responses that I want or that I expect or that I hope. Maybe, I don't know whether maybe he might be sat with entitlement still that he needs to work with, that maybe there's some more humility needs to come. But I think speaking from the betrayed wife's perspective, she is still sat with incredible pain. And what is in the husband's or the individual seeking recovery's past is very much in her present, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what might be a place in the recovery for him where he's putting in a load of effort and he feels like he's changed a lot, she's not maybe seeing that and feeling that because she's still suffering from the impact of relatively new knowledge. Could be disclosure, could be anything. So I think, am I speaking to that?
Yeah.
Right.
And tell me what you think about this. When I hear a guy talking about, excuse me, I know I'm genderizing because I'm typically working with males as the betraying partner, the individual seeking recovery. So I think about this, the ones that are just frustrated, they're like, why? It's not like it makes a difference. Nothing I'm doing is helping. I've been doing this forever. Nothing I do is right. I'm noticing their level of motivation, what they're motivated by, which is their partner to acknowledge. So you were speaking briefly before about what do wives actually look for. And what I've noticed is the guys that weaponize that information, which is what are they looking for, is that's why I'm doing it. It tends to create this overwhelming draw and urge towards needing to be validated with that certain type of thing, rather than doing it from a values-based place. Like, I don't need my partner to respond a certain way. I don't need her to acknowledge that because I'm going to do it whether she needs to or not. Easily said, hard to do, right?
Yeah.
But
Excellent point, though.
it's no, I just think, I don't know, Izzy, what your experience is like with a betrayed partner, but that's a lot of pressure that he's putting on her, like a lot of pressure when he's noticing how she's not responding in a way that he wants to be responded to. I don't know. Is that clear? What do you think about that?
I think what you're touching on, Luke, is pivotal. It's a fundamental principle of a successful recovery for a man. I think if he can practice or get this idea of healthy detachment, that
Healthy detachment.
healthy detachment from his wife. Yes, I want to restore the relationship. Yes, I want to earn her trust back. Yes, I want to save what we had, our relationship. But at the same time, in order to do that, there has to be that healthy detachment that says, I can't work to earn her approval because then everything I'm doing is for her. And that keeps me in a place of stuckness and of dependency on the other person's, like you said, Luke, emotional validation. And that's really something that would be a huge factor that played into their addiction in the first place. Dependency on someone else to validate, on someone else to meet the need. I think there's so much really good work that the individual seeking recovery can do to own themselves, stabilize themselves, like nurture themselves, reparent themselves. Like, does that make sense? So that's really what you're alluding to, Luke. And I love it. I think it's such a key piece for the man in recovery is I can't be doing this for my wife. I have to do this for me. So like you said, whether she gives her approval or not, am I prepared to do the work? Is this why I'm getting frustrated and disgruntled? Because who am I doing this for? So I think that's really important.
I don't want to take us down a rabbit hole, but I heard this the other day. I learned about this and I think it was way oversimplified. And I was talking to Alana about it and I don't know if she really liked it that much, but let me bring it up anyway. Said there are two reasons people are motivated. Okay. Two reasons. If you simplify it, oversimplify it, it's because they want to do it or they are forced to do it. They have to do it. And I'm like, wait, what? Way oversimplified. But I thought about this and I think about the guys in recovery. Originally, they show up to not lose their families. Originally, they show up because they got caught and they don't want to lose that relationship. And it seems like the guys end up in recovery, just end up starting to become drawn and now have an acquired taste for healthy. And then, Izzy, I know you were starting to get into what do they actually look for? But what's interesting is what they actually look for. Men can weaponize this information and be able to say, okay, now I know what she wants. Now I have the formula. Now I can get everything to work out okay. But it's still going to be useless information unless it's from a values-based place. Because until he wants the same things that she wants, but it has to come from inside of him, there was going to be a lack of consistency, a frustration, because it's not done from a values intrinsically based place.
Right. And I think what you're speaking to there, Luke, is when the individual seeking recovery actually internalizes his recovery process, right?
Mm.
It stops at some point what we want and what he should want and what we're gunning for him to get there, right? Is that he moves from a place of doing it to keep his family, doing it for external reasons. And his recovery then becomes about him, about who he wants to be. It really takes on a different nature. It becomes who he is
Yeah.
rather than something he just does.
And what does he internalize? He internalizes his own worth, his own sense of like value. And I don't know, Izzy, if this is painful for the betrayed partner, knowing that like that's something that he lacks, is his own sense of value and worth. It's like, and he's so busy people pleasing. But do you mind knowing that this could technically be weaponized as far as you could hear this formula, because I want to draw it back to it. You could hear this formula of what wives are looking for in recovery. And then as Izzy, as you share with us what wives are looking for, let's just notice as you're listening to this from an audience perspective, how this can be internalized of why I would do it for me, or why it would be happening because of my own value, or why I would be doing it to make my partner okay with me. Let me just notice that. But do you mind telling us what those things are that they look for?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a lot. That's three really good points you've spoken to, Luke. I think when there's no trust, it's really almost impossible for a wife or a partner to believe anything or believe what she sees, let alone believe what she's told. So really what she's looking for, I think, to be able to decipher that his recovery is genuine and coming from a really genuine place and not just that weaponized place of that you spoke of, Luke, that, oh, I've got this formula figured out. If I just do that, go through the motions, then hopefully it'll work and produce the results that I'm looking for. So I think the individual seeking recovery has to be prepared to shelve that. In fact, don't even shelve that, just bin that. Just throw that right in the trash. That's thinking that has to die in one sense, because it's counterproductive and it's actually going to hijack the whole recovery. But I can see how men operate in that oftentimes in the beginning of their recovery. So I think what wives are really looking for is, yes, honesty, yes, a changed man, yes, integrity. But I think that comes through consistency, comes through doing repeated actions, going to your meetings, not missing them, showing up, being transparent, as in talking about, okay, this is really difficult, this meeting today, and I didn't want to go and I hated it for the first half of the time I was there. But then when I actually got into it and heard some really good things, I actually thought, yeah, I really related with that and it resonated with me. So I think the transparency, the willingness to be vulnerable, because in all the hiding and the addiction, that's the complete opposite to what they've been and who they've been and where they've lived. So accountability is a really important skill that the wife needs to see, or the partner needs to see them practicing. Who am I accountable to? Am I going to my coach and telling him of my struggles? Am I going to my guys in my group and being open and vulnerable and telling the truth? Am I going to my 12-step program and putting the tools into action? And that emotional engagement is so what the betrayed partner craves. I believe she so craves for him to show up emotionally, because that's where he's been absent for such a long time in addiction. Does that speak of?
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break for a moment. I want to let you know of some things that we have coming up at Choose Recovery Services.
What I'm going to talk about today is not for everybody. It's for those of you who are in a place where you have done a lot of work and you've done a lot of healing, and you're not really like heavily involved in the betrayal trauma and recovery world in the ways that you once were. And you are somebody who is goal oriented and you want to heal and you want to move forward and you're ready to expand in the next areas of your life. And you have these pieces of you that have done so much healing and so much growing, yet there's still this other part of you that's like longing for more. There's this other part of you that is ready to really explore, like, what's next? Who am I? Where am I headed? What do I want? And really unlocking the woman within. Now, the reason I say that this is not for somebody who's new in recovery is because this intensive that we're doing, this Worthy by Design, is truly for a unique woman. It's for a woman who really is in tune with her emotions. She's self-reflective. She's looking into her soul. She believes in energy and healing and emotions and the value of those, but you're not sure how to step into that next level of your own growth, your own development. This is what Worthy by Design is for. And I will tell you, I am so excited for this intensive. It's not betrayal trauma focused. There will be women there who have gone through betrayal trauma and done their healing, and there'll be other women who have just grown and developed and are ready for this type of healing as well. And you're going to get to spend 3 nights and 4 days with me, myself, Hallie Roderick, who is one of our coaches, Kelly Johnson, who she partners with us here at Choose Recovery. She does what's called soul soma healing. And I don't know what other way to put it other than she has an absolute gift for touching into people's emotions and helping them release, but also educating and learning and teaching. And so I am so excited to partner with her. And then we also have Kelsey Red, who is a former therapist. She is a yoga certified instructor and she is amazing. If this is speaking to your soul, if you feel that calling, it's going to be it's going to be soul healing. The location we're doing it at is a beautiful, huge home that we have rented that has a private property with a pond and a heated pool and a walking path. It's tucked up in the mountains. And so you are going to get time for relaxation, time for yourself, time for connection, time for growth and healing. It is going to be truly unique. This is the only one of these intensives that we are doing. So this is not one of like, oh, I hope I can catch it next time. This is the one that we are doing. So again, if you are feeling called to this, if you are interested in it, reach out for more information. You can always jump in and do a free consult with Hallie and learn more about it. If you hear this and you think that is exactly what I want, I need this and I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for it, Choose Recovery Services for all of our intensives does offer scholarship opportunities. So you can always put in an application and see if that's something that you could get some financial support to do that as well. So I would love to see you at Worthy by Design. If this applies to you, you especially are worthy by design, and it will help you learn how to really tap into that.
Let's get back to our episode. I want to go back and ask you about a couple of these because I hear men being frustrated with some of these. Let's go to this consistency. I notice that they're often going like, some of them are frustrated going like, I feel like she needs me to be perfect. Isy and Luke are talking about consistency, but I think my partner is asking for perfection. So that's not true, but it feels like that. So
One of those lies.
what is she referring to when she says consistency? Does she need perfection?
No, but I can definitely, again, going back to the individual seeking recovery's viewpoint, I totally get it. To him, it does look like perfection because he's come from a deep, dark place that he's trying to get out of. So, any hard work, I think, can look like I'm expected to be perfect and get it right the whole time. There's no grace for my mistakes, and it's not that there's not grace for him not getting it right sometimes. It's not that there's not grace from the betrayed partner. It's just that she's in too much pain often, and there's too much wounding for her to have any space to give any grace. She needs to see that consistent, I am going to go to my meetings come, by hook or by crook. I think that's
Like hook or by crook?
I think that's a good British expression there.
Right.
By hook or by crook, like what may, I'm committed. I think commitment and consistency can go together, perhaps in this.
And I just want to pull out, that's not perfection. That's not
No,
perfection.
no way.
Because what it is I notice I can tell what my partner actually values, what they're trying to show up with, what they're actually, consistency is, I can tell they value this and this is important to them and that they're making, I want to stop using the word consistent and try to find other language to get there. This is something that they have committed to and that they're engaging and they're not ebbing and flowing with it.
Yeah.
I just think what it does is it comes back to that, whose values are that or is he trying to meet? Is it his? Is it what he's valuing? Or is it something that he's trying to check a box for her? And,
Yes.
and because I think about that is if she calls out him of your not being, you haven't gone to your meetings lately, he's going to have a shame response, a big, big shame response, if his motivation is to make her feel safe through going to meetings. But if it's something that's his value and it's not hers, he's not going to show up as loud or as big when she asks about it or talks about it, because it's going to be something that matters to him too.
Yeah.
So the consistency is really based upon I'm going to do things, I'm going to follow through on things that are important to me.
Mhm.
Aren't like things that are just important to you, they're important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautifully said, Luke. I agree. I think that the consistency, there has to be grace in the beginning. That's my belief. And that's not, I totally, obviously, my heart is an advocate for the betrayed partner, that when she does not see consistency right from the beginning, it is so hard.
So hard.
Really hard. It is. It's really hard. And I love to create a space to nurture that, to validate that. And that can't be, it can't be avoided. That's how the betrayed partner feels. And I think from the guy's point of view, the individual seeking recovery, he needs grace because he's trying. He's going to stumble, and maybe some guys don't. Maybe they can just straight off the bat when they get into recovery can just consistently just meet those targets. I believe there are some men that can do that. But for the most part, I think the individual seeking recovery, it's like wearing a new pair of shoes. It's maybe like, I don't know, trying to walk in high heels. Maybe that is a really bad analogy. I hope that it's not. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you put on a new pair of shoes that you haven't walked in before, you can't always walk straight first time around. You're going to have to just keep getting practice, right? So I say that to give the individual seeking recovery, the men, hope, that the consistency will show up when they really start to honor themselves and actually do some work on examining, okay, I haven't been a man that has valued integrity, sexual purity, honesty. I haven't been that man, but I want to be. And I'm committing to myself that I'm going to be. I'm going to do it for me because I've never valued me. I've lived in a place that I never wanted to live. And I've lost so much of myself in there. I want to recover and I want to be a man of integrity. I actually want to see if I can be a man of integrity and honesty. I don't know. What do you see in your men in terms of that?
I don't know. I hope this doesn't distract from the topic.
Right.
And I think I barely just said this in maybe a podcast not that long ago, but I think about the men that are, okay, you and I are probably gonna have to clean this up after I say it, okay? Just saying right now.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna be very clear that this could be triggering and also that this should not be weaponized. But my guys that lose battles and have slips when they are telling their partners proactively when it happens, it is less destructive than the ones that hide deeply and then come out every once in a while and get caught. Neither one is good. Neither one is good. But what the betrayed partner at least experiences is some level of consistency. Yeah. Even in the loss of the battle, even in the slip. Again, I'm just going to say it over and over again, not okay behavior, okay? But she is more secure in that relationship than the guy that comes across perfect for a while, that all of a sudden comes out these slipping. So consistency isn't about perfection, is in the fact, it's they know what to count on. It's like you tell them something and they know that I can depend on that. And that's what happens with children, and their primary caregiver is the most destructive caregiver, is the one where the child just does not know what to expect. Call it whatever it is. It's the surprises that are the most destructive psychologically. Consistency is just that. I know what I can count on when I can predict it. Yeah.
So good. That's such a good, you define that so well, Luke, and you exemplified it really well. I think, we definitely speak to the fact that neither of those are okay. It's not okay to slip in recovery. However, I do believe there has to be a measure of grace for the individual seeking recovery. And that, again, don't want to get off topic, but that's a tension line for a betrayed partner, right? Because at the beginning, there's no grace. It's like she feels like they don't deserve grace. She's maybe had years of grace. That grace has been abused countless times. So I do not want to, it's triggering to go down that route. But I think the consistency, you're right. It's so much more important that if an individual seeking recovery does slip or relapse or whatever you want to call it, it is so much more powerful and important to go and habitually, hopefully it's not a habit, right? But of the use of language here, to make it a commitment. Let's word it better, right? Word it better, Isy. To make it a commitment that if I slip, I will go and do this. I will go and report it to my guys within 24 hours. I will then talk to my wife about it immediately. So then what she'll begin to see, is, okay, he slipped up sexually, which is really not good. Not good at all. Heartbreaking, destroying for some women, depending on where they are in their trauma journey. But at the same time, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. So again, we're not looking to slip up, but we're looking for him to be telling the truth and cultivating habits in a consistent manner, which will help build truth and help restore trust.
That's it. Okay, so let me tie these together because you listed a few. Let's just take them and notice how they come in order. So what do wives look for? They're going to look for consistency. If they meet with somebody like Isy, they'll talk about what to look for. Consistency. And a part of that consistency is transparency. So that's not like, okay, I'm consistent, but I'm also transparent about that experience. And then the third part is the accountability. I'll take responsibility for my transparency, for my consistency. And then there's also the emotional engagement, or I love that you mentioned before, Isy, which is I'm going to share my feelings. And what I mean is I'll be open, and I'll be open to your feelings. I'm not going to withdraw. I'm not going to hide. I'm going to be there. And I just want to highlight this part before we move on to anything new or what's next, which is who initiates this. Like, one of the most destructive parts, which is not about consistency, is who's really driving the recovery. Is it her or is it him? And if she is, that is like a parent-child dynamic that is really, really painful. If she's showing up going, how's your recovery going? Or have you had any slips lately? Or tell me what's going on. What are your triggers? Or have you been going to group? That's not consistency. That's not the transparency. That's not the accountability. That's not the emotional engagement. It has to be, initiative has to come from him. So
100%. Such a good question, Luke. Yeah. The husband has to be the driver of his recovery. He has to be the driving force. He can't be the passenger. Because if he's the passenger, then it'll be the wife that will she'll either end up driving his recovery out of sheer trauma, fear, anxiety, hypervigilance, which again is trauma symptoms. And that's not going to help. It's way too much pressure and false responsibility laid on her to drive her husband's recovery. So the recovery has to be driven by the husband. So his goal is to get into the driver's seat of his own recovery. And again, that ties back in, Luke, with it being a values-driven recovery. It's like, why am I doing this? If I'm doing this for me, then I'm doing it for me. I'm going to drive it. I'm going to be in control. I'm going to be in charge. I'm not going to leave it to her. I'm not going to put it on her in any way. I'm going to own this. So yeah, I love that. I love that you bring that up. I think it's a pivotal, what do you call it? It's a pillar. That mindset, that thinking is a pillar in the individual seeking recovery's recovery. There's got to be a pillar in their thinking, right?
absolutely. Absolutely. Any parts of this you think that we should be talking about specifically that we haven't already talked about?
I think one thing could be good to emphasize, Luke, is, and it's hard, this is a hard, long road recovery, and I'm sure everybody on it realizes that. But I think patience, slowing down, slowing the whole thing down. I think in the addictive mind, very often instant results, like, if I shape up quickly, if I get if I get into recovery, will things just quickly get back to normal, or she'll improve quickly, or she'll get through this quickly, or get over this. So I think that there has to be an understanding to let that kind of thinking go.
Yeah.
It's a detachment happens to a degree, and freedom comes to a degree on one level where we accept powerlessness, where the individual seeking recovery chooses to accept a degree of powerlessness. in that I don't get to control the timeline of this. I don't get to control the time frame of this. Like, I need to slow down. Like, everything in trauma for the betrayed partner slows down. That's what I tell my clients is when our brain's response to extremely stressful, overwhelming stimuli or event or crisis is trauma, that's what trauma is effectively, everything slows down. So we have to slow everything down. I think the individual seeking recovery must do that. He must slow everything down and accept, okay, this is a different pace. This isn't going to happen on my timeline. Like, I'm not going to become the man I want to be on my projected time frame.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool listening to you talk because it reminds me, it sounds like you're talking about like the grief cycle, like the bargaining, like, no, I want to go back to my old life. Just everything. And I think about grief of the loss of that old life. There is no going back. There isn't a timeline. I'm not in control. Grieving that I thought I was in control and I'm not, whatever it might be. That reminded me of what you're talking about.
Right. We could go down rabbit trails, and I know for the sake of time, I know we can't, Luke, but I mean, I think the control issue is another huge thing that we could speak to. Like, it's scary to relinquish control because in the addiction cycle, they have so much control. That's a huge piece for the men to have to deal with. And that's not something I can really speak to. It's not my place.
Wish we did podcast on that.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Well, we actually should, Izzy. We should just podcast on this, the illusion of control, because you said they have so much control, and I immediately thought like the illusion of control existing, right? But
Yeah.
partners are feeling like once they realize what is actually going on, whoa, what is he orchestrating over there? I had no idea. What's reality? That'd be good.
It'd be brilliant. It would give our listeners hopefully some really good insight.
Yeah.
Some good awareness and clarity, because really that's what they need.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that, y'all. Izzy, thank you so much for joining us. Any last words of wisdom or anything for our listeners?
Just that your recovery for the individual seeking recovery for the men that is so impactful to your wives. It can be so impactful to your wives in such a positive way. And not to believe that you're powerless. That is the biggest lie. There's a beautiful, I don't want to go down another rabbit trail, but there's a beautiful thing about the masculine energy, and I don't want to trigger other, there's a whole debate around that. So I'll be careful with the language that I use. However, I believe that the powerlessness that men can feel is dangerous. It hijacks their recovery, and they have so much power to internalize the values, to recover themselves, to become the men they want to be. And I think if they can't hear that from a betrayed spouse, from their own betrayed spouse, which wouldn't be fair of them to expect their betrayed spouse to be able to come up with that, then you can hear it from another betrayed spouse, that there's really good growth up ahead, that there's really good potential for healing and restoration. You just have to be willing to do the hard graft and love yourself in that and commit to it and face the pain, own the stuff that you've done, own the brokenness, and do the deep work, the inner child work, whatever it takes. And we're not looking for perfection, looking for excellence. If I can't be perfect and get it right every time, I can commit to doing it in excellence, to trying. If I fall down, I'm just going to get up better next time. I'm just going to turn up to my meetings. Okay, I missed a meeting. I'm just going to own it. Sorry, I missed it. I was being sloppy or whatever, or I just didn't make it, but I'm going to go next time. So it's a determination of the mind, and just that the husband's active recovery journey is the strongest indicator that we can fix this. It's the strongest indicator to the betrayed partner that we can recover. There's hope. There's huge hope. So I want them to go away with hope.
Yeah. Thank you. I felt that. I felt the level of hope that you shared. There's a bunch. We be careful how we measure things. The bad days can be so hard, and then we don't want the highs to get too high and the lows to get too low. Recognize that there's somewhere in the middle, and we call that the window of tolerance. Anyway, thanks for blessing us with your time and energy, Izzy. It's good to have you, and we're going to have you come back. Seriously, please come back.
I would love to. Thanks, Luke. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Enjoyed being with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Men, the mask that you wear to protect yourself is the same mask that keeps you from truly connecting. So this September 16th to the 19th in Spanish Fork, Utah, join me and Gene Honeycutt for the Unmasked Men's Intensive. Over 4 powerful days, you're going to explore integrity, uncover the roots of your patterns, and step into true authenticity.
Some of our past participants have called it life-changing, finally a safe space to be real, vulnerable, and understood. The spots are going to be limited, so if you're ready to drop the mask and begin living with courage and connection, go to chooserecoveryservices.com and register, or book some time for us to talk about this some more. Looking forward to having you be there.
If you've been through betrayal, you know it's more than heartbreak. It can shake your sense of safety, trust, and even your connection to yourself. That's why we created the Courage to Thrive Intensive, a 4-day betrayal trauma intensive happening October 14th through the 17th in Spanish Fork, Utah. In this safe and supportive space, you'll learn how betrayal impacts your body, discover ways to create safety within, gain tools to manage triggers, and set healthy boundaries. Through experiential activities, somatic interventions, and practical tools, you'll leave with hope, clarity, and the courage to step forward in your healing. Learn more at chooserecoveryservices.com/intensives or click the link in the show notes.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. If this is something that you connected with, I'd love to meet with you more and talk about it. So what you can do is go to chooserecoveryservices.com or check the show notes. And there what we can do is set up a quick conversation to meet. Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Facade, where we unmask the authentic self.